Hello everyone, this is Sir Cheddar and I'm going to be making a quick video on a new Yui660c Wedge Angled Bottom which I've designed, and I'm going to be going through the assembly of it and a quick discussion on the functionality and give some of my opinions on it. Also, I wanted to specifically show how to do the assembly in case anybody watching this video ever has this version, and they can use this as a reference at least to see how to do the assembly process. So here's the case bottom. This is the wedge shape. And there is the rubber feet go into these little cutouts here. And here's the case top. It's for the FC60C, which is the Topra version of the Leopold FC660. And then here's my FC660. This one is a kind of like a Frankenstein version of one that I've created. It's using 35-gram domes from a Real Force, and these keycaps I actually bought from somebody who had a spare set, and he gave me a really reasonable price on the full set, which I'm so lucky that I found because I was having trouble completing the keycap set and I was missing a few keycaps because you cannot just throw the Real Force caps onto the FC660. You are missing one of the shift keys because you don't have an extra of the left shift size. You also don't have a space bar. I did have a replacement space bar, but the right shift was an issue. I actually, an interesting side note, I tried to cast the right shift with resin. I did some experimenting to try and get a good result. It didn't really succeed, but I'll probably make a video on how I was going about that because it was a fun process and I went through a few iterations till I made some progress, but I ended up getting this keycap set, so that kind of changed my target anyways. Okay, so how would you do the assembly on this? First, I think you should recognize that this is an extra long daughter board cable. You need to have an extra long one or else the assembly is really impossible. I think you could do it, I've done it before, but it's a headache. So what you want to do is I kind of just go like this and I push the screw through and I fasten it. See? So I just try to like lock these in there. And I'll fasten the other one. See if I can get. And you just kind of like screw it in with your finger. And I will, of course, I provide the standoffs. I have way too many standoffs in my room right now. Okay, so now let's see. We can throw the daughter board on. So that goes on like this. And then you want to take some wafer head screws. Oh shoot. Okay. Yep. Okay. Well, now I want to secure this down. I don't like to do it super tight. And now let's get onto the case. So I might have to pull this off screen for a minute. I think one way is if you support the board like this with two type of like rectangle wedges and you get it aerial, then you can lay the keyboard on and screw it in. But another way is just to put it on your lap. So basically just put one side on one leg, one side on the other leg, so it's elevated, because if you lay it down, I'll show you, it pops up. So, and you need it to be down so that it's touching the surface where the screws need to contact. So just give me a moment here. this design actually should be the same version that I created one of the YouTube videos for. It wasn't the most recent version. I had to create a new version of this design for a special customer commission, but this one is quite similar. So I think the idea with this assembly process is you just don't want the keys touching anything. You want them hanging loose, and so you just want to support the keyboard from the right and left bezels, basically. Okay, and now if you set it down, it'll basically be elevating on the keys itself. And I just kind of like try to alternate the sides where it's like the diametrically opposed screwing to kind of make sure it's evened out a little bit. Okay. Okay, so now we can go about putting this thing on. So this is where the difficulty is. Basically, you want to kind of lay this like this, and then insert the daughter cable in. Luckily, you really only have to do this once, but it's not the easiest thing. Okay, and we are good to go there. Okay, now you screw this on. I think my designs have a lot of screws, and I realized that it also has a lot of the holes for the rubber feet. I'm kind of like a redundancy focused person. I mean, if I strip one of the screws and then I need to drill out the screw, I would be so thankful that I have extras so that I get a very secure assembly still. So that's kind of my perspective on it. If you're wondering why I kind of overdo it with most things, that's kind of why. I kind of just want it to last, and I don't want to have to troubleshoot things. I kind of just want some redundancy. That's why anybody who's interested in picking up one of my boards, there's always, you can order the extra daughter board cables if you need to, for example, and I provide any of you who have seen or received boards from me, you will receive an excessive amount of screws. Just in case you strip one or something, or one doesn't look clean to you, you have a ton of extras. Okay, looks like we got all the screws. Okay, so now you can see what the board looks like. And this surface is of course raw aluminum, unfinished, no bead blasting. Let's screw this one a little bit more. And you can see it gets a little bit of an angle there. But if you like tap the back, you can't like one thing I was worried about was imbalancing the weight of the board, so it's like it feels like it's not stable or something. This is still rock solid. And so you get a pretty tanky look. A clean bezel. Can it still stand up on the bezel? Yep, it can still stand up on the bezel. Let me turn this around. Yeah, it seems to be coming together very nicely. I think that this wedge bottom was a big improvement on my previous ones, and as you can see in the compared to the first video versus the second video, you can see that I start to understand the design much better in CAD, and the second one only took me like 25 minutes or 20 minutes compared to the first one, which was a lot more exploratory, trying to figure out what would work. So it's fun to always have those improvements going on. can see it here, you can hear the board. Just a reminder, this is 35 grams, so it's gonna sound a little bit more airy. I guess it's just sounding a little bit less stocky too. If you just want to get one more view of the full board, it does look quite tanky. It looks quite solid. Yeah, that's the word I would use to describe it. It's got some good weight to it. So anyways, this is the newest version of the wedge bottom on the standard Yui660c design. I know at the moment of this video being made, it does say that the Yui660c is closed. I would like to focus on the Yui660c CB. However, everything's always open if the situation is right. So this is still undergoing some development. It's just I would prefer to focus on the Yui660c CB versions, which maybe before or after this video there will be another video with a new CB version. Not a new version, but a new material that I've created for the CB design, which is going to be super cool. I'm very excited, and I think the results have turned out super good. So I think that's everything for this video. This was the wedge version, the wedge bottom, the newest wedge bottom version of the Yui660c design. So thank you very much for taking a look at this. I really appreciate it, and have a great day.